Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name's Ashley and this is another bookish video. Hello friends, so in today's video I will be doing a very late wrap up of the books I have read from the past 4 months, meaning July, August, September, and October. I read a good amount of books the past 4 months, but for some reason I forgot to do wrap-ups on these books. So bear with me on if I remember, if I don't remember a lot of details from especially the books that I read in back in July or August. I mean I remember most of what happened because it's not that long ago, but yeah, I might miss what they were exactly about, especially if I wasn't liking it as much as other ones. But yeah, I have a lot of books to go through, so I'm gonna try to go through these fast. So I'm not gonna go over every synopsis of these books, but I will give you my thoughts on them and what I rated it. So yeah, in July, I only read 4 books. In August, I read 7 books. In September, I read 6 books. And in October, I read 12 books, which October was probably my best, the best reading month of the year, at least in the amount of books read. I didn't have a ton of 5 stars in October, but I did read some very good books. I did have, I think, a couple 5 stars, and I definitely read one of my favorite books in September, one of my favorite books of the year in September. And then I read really very good books in July and August as well. But anyway, this is gonna be a lot of books to get through, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with the 4 books I read in July. The first book I read was Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. This is the sequel to Part of Your World, which I loved. Gave that one 5 stars. I had such a great time with that one. And then this follows one of her greatest friends and co-workers from where she works. She worked in a hospital, they work in a hospital. This follows Brianna. And yeah, she's one of the friends from the main character in Part of Your World. And yeah, this follows her romance, and it has I remember it had very good anxiety rep, and I just loved this story as well. There was a couple moments that were hard to get through because there is a trigger warning for miscarriage. So if that triggers you, I mean, it's a small little bit, that is a trigger for me. But it was only a small bit, and it wasn't that bad. It doesn't go into details really. And it didn't affect my rating of the story. But yeah, I ended up giving this 5 stars because I just loved it. I loved the characters, and I thought it was very funny, and I loved the main guy, Jacob. He was so great. But yeah, I definitely love this book. And then the second book I read was The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I actually did the audiobook of this, as well as physically read it as well. And I love this one as well. I gave it 5 stars. It was so much fun. I was laughing, it was such a good time. I loved every minute of this book. It got into some dark topics there, but it was so much fun. I loved it. And yeah, this was actually one of the books I read for Summerween. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to read. And then the third book I read was Mooncakes, which is a cute graphic novel, and it's sapphic. It was perfect for like the summerween at that time. And yeah, it was such a cute story. And like it had like, there was like a mystery behind it as well. And yeah, I just love these two characters, and it was like witchy, which I love. And yeah, I definitely recommend this to a lot of people. I think I gave this 4 stars. And then the last book I read in July was Alex Approximately by Jen Bennett. This is a young adult romance. It follows Bailey and what is the other? Alex. And they are like, it's like a online relationship. Like she starts an online relationship with Alex, and they like have a chat, like, and they like talk about like meeting each other. And then like she moves in with her dad to like California, where this like guy that she's having an online relationship with lives. And she like she wants to try to like find him to like maybe like help like get a relationship. But then she meets her coworker, and like she starts out hating him, and I think it's kind of like a hate to love. But yeah, I had so much fun with reading this. It was just a cute young adult romance. I think I gave it 4 stars. But yeah, so if you are still if you like young adult romance, it's definitely a good book to read. Okay, now we're moving on to the books I read in August. I read 7 books. And I also participated in the Amazing Readathon, which was hosted by 4 Paws in the Book. And that was a very fun, like, monthly readathon. I had so much fun. I didn't read as much as I wanted to for the readathon, but I still read some very good books that month. But anyway, the first book I read was The Beach Trap by Allie Brady. This follows 2 friends. They like met at a summer camp and were like best friends, but then something happened at something was revealed at the camp, and they like separated each other. It like actually it does say on the back they find out they are half sisters, and then they like stop talking after that is revealed. And then their father dies, and he leaves this beach house to them, and they are both left with the house, and then like they start like fighting over what they want to do with this house. It is a great story of like family, friendships, and like sisterhood. I had a really fun time reading it. It was a perfect like summer read at the time, and yeah, I definitely recommend. I gave this one 4 stars. And then I read Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. This was very good. I like love the writing, and this is like my first R.F. Kuang. I also have The Poppy War on my TBR that I really want to read. But this was a great book, and I never like loved hating a character as much as I hated the character in this one. But I mean, you are supposed to hate the character in this book. So yeah, I had so much. It was such a great read, and like a great insight on like the publishing industry and stuff like that. I thought it was very interesting, and like yeah, I just, it was such a good read. I think I ended up giving it a 4.5. I don't think I gave it quite a 5 star, but I still really love this book. So yeah, I definitely recommend this if you have not read it already. And then the third book I read was Flock by Kate Stewart. This is a like, it's about this girl. She moves to like Triple Falls and like meets these like guys that they like have secrets, and like it's like I don't know, like a secret group, and it's kind of like like why choose romance. And yeah, it was really good. I think I ended up giving it 4 stars. I still need to read the second and third one, which I should have done like back to, like, they say that this is like a series that you should read back to back, but I just have not gotten to the sequel yet, which I really need to, because I did enjoy this one. I gave it 4 stars, because I had a pretty good time with it. But yeah, I can't really like say too much about it because I don't want to give away like any like the reveals or spoilers. But yeah, it was a good read. And then the 4th book I read was Shark Heart by Emily Habeck. This had very beautiful writing. Like, I love the writing in this. It follows like this husband and wife, and the husband gets this like rare disease where he starts turning into a shark. It sounds really weird, but like the writing was beautiful, and like there was like different like timelines, and like the weaving of like the story, like how it comes together was like amazing. And I just love the characters in this, and yeah, it was such a beautiful story. I highly recommend it. I think I gave it 4.5 stars. But yeah, it was such a great read. I definitely recommend. And then the 5th book I read was Triple Duty Bodyguards by Lily Gold. This was my 3rd Lily Gold book, and her books are just very fun, like easy to read, quick reads. Like, I just fly through them when I'm reading them. It is Why Choose Romance, and this one was very fun. I did not like it as much as her other one I read. I am blanking on the name. But I loved all of these. I think I gave this one a 4 star as well. And yeah, it follows a like celebrity who needs bodyguards, and then these 3 step up to become our bodyguards, and then of course a relationship happens between all 4 of them. And yeah, I had so much fun with it. It like actually kept me on my toes. Like, yeah, it's like she needs extra security from this like fan that's kind of like stalking her, or someone's like stalking her, so she needs like these extra security. I won't say more than that, but yeah, it was a fun time, very easy to get through, and yeah, very spicy. So yeah, I definitely recommend if you want a quick, like, fun romance read, and if Why Choose Romances are your thing, I definitely recommend it. And I think I gave it a 4 star. Maybe I did give it a 3 point, because I didn't like it as much, but it was still a fun read. Like, I didn't take it like too seriously or anything. But yeah, it was fun. And then I read Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark, and I love this book. This was so good. I loved, like, it's kind of like it kind of gave a like Romeo and Juliet like vibes, because it was like 2 families kind of like that are like rivals, like these rival gangs, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, I just loved both of these 2 characters. It's a oh my gosh, why can't I think of it? they are like forced into like a marriage. So yeah, I had so much fun with it. I liked like the dark romance and like the like gangs, like, and it like definitely kept me on my toes, like with some of the action in it. And it also has like artwork in this book too that I love. This is chapter 1, so I'll just it shows like the artwork. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with this book, and I don't know why it took me so long to read a Sophie Lark book. I gave it 5 stars. And then I read Electric Idol by Katie Robert. This is the sequel to Neon Gods, and it follows Psyche and Eros. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong, or pronouncing it right, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's a modern retelling of those, of them, and it was fun. I did not like it as much as Neon Gods, but it was fine. I definitely had to like push through it for some parts, and I think I ended up giving this one a 3.5. So, and this was my last book I read in August, so it was not a great end after like reading so many good books for August, but it was still a fun time, and I definitely want to continue with this series. So now I'm gonna move on to my September reads, and I read 6 books in September. The first book I read was Red Rising by Pierce Brown. This is a sci-fi book, and I think it takes place on like a reformed Mars, I'm pretty sure, and like there's like they're like separated by like colors, like reds, I think, and golds. I'm pretty sure I listened to the audiobook of this, and I also read this when I was sick with COVID, so I don't know if that like affected my enjoyment of this book, but I ended up only giving it a 3 stars. And yeah, it was very like fun. Like I liked like the writing and everything. Like the audiobook was great, but yeah, I don't know, there was parts that like I kind of like got bored with, or I don't know, I don't know why I only gave it a 3 star. I know a lot of people love this book. I do want to continue with the series because I have heard that even if you don't like this book as much, like, or if you gave it like a 3, like, I mean, not that you would hate it and like continue on, but if you gave it like a lower rating, to still like move on with like the other books. So I do plan on reading the sequel because I still had some fun times like reading this book. But yeah, I ended up giving it 3 stars, unfortunately. The second book I read was Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This is another YA romance, and it's kind of like, yeah, it follows her. She's neighbors with Wes, and she always has said that he is not like boyfriend material, and like they're kind of like, he kind of like always like messed with her growing up, and she's always like, she's in search of like the perfect like movie like romance, but yeah, they end up doing like a fake relationship, and I had so much fun with it. It was such a cute little romance, and I think I ended up giving it 4 stars. So not like, there was still some like it wasn't like bad, but it wasn't like a perfect book. And the third book I read was Say You Swear by Megan Brandy, and I love this book. This was a college football romance, and there is a little bit of a like love triangle in this, but it is not bad at all. Like I love this book so much. and I loved the characters in this and like the relationship between the two like main characters, and who she ends up with. Like, I just loved it. It was so much fun. I gave this 5 stars. Then the next book I read was The Curveball by Megan Cousins. This is the first book in the Wild Pitches series. This follows Penelope and Jake. They end up as co-workers on this like they like are producing like this baseball like news like station, and they like start like they develop this like very like great like friendship. Like, it's kind of like friends to lovers, and it was such a great story. And it also has PCOS rep, which was great because as someone with PCOS, I thought they did it so well. Like, and not gonna like it didn't show like, I mean, every like all the symptoms of like PCOS vary, and even though I like don't show all the symptoms that she has in this book, I still like, it was such a great representation of like what like the things we go through. And yeah, I had so much fun with this book, and yeah, the ending was great. And yeah, I gave it 5 stars. And yeah, I just loved the characters of this. And then the next book I read was A Light in the Flame by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the second book to the Flesh and Fire series, which is like the prequel series to the From Blood and Ash series. And that's like my all-time favorite series ever. And I also really love the Flesh and Fire series. And this was no exception. I loved every minute of this. It was long and it did take me a little bit to get through, but I still had so much fun, and I can't wait to read the 3rd book. It just released like, I think a week or 2 ago. And yeah, I cannot wait to read that one. I also still need to read the next installment in the From Blood and Ash series before I get to that one. But yeah, I love this series so much. I can't really say too much about this book, because I don't want to give away spoilers, but yeah, it was such a great fantasy romance and sequel to the Flesh and Fire series. And then the last book I read in September is probably going to be on my, not probably, it will be on my favorite books of the year, and that is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I am actually, as I'm filming this, reading the sequel, Iron Flame, which I'm also loving so far. But yeah, I love this. Was the writing the greatest? No, but I ate it up. I flew through this. I read it in like a day and a half. I just could not put it down. And if you don't already know, I mean, this like blew up, so I think everybody knows what this is about by now. But if you somehow don't, it follows Violet, and she's attending this like war college, and she is forced into like to be a dragon rider. Like, she has to like go through these trials to become a dragon rider, and I just had so much fun. There's romance in it, and it was just so much fun to read. If you have not read it already, which I know like everybody I feel like has read it already, but if you haven't, I highly recommend. But yeah, it was just such a fun read. I read through it so fast. And yeah, I'm also, like I said, the sequel just came out and I'm reading that now, and I'm also loving that one so far anyway. But yeah, this was such a good book. Okay, so now to the 12 books I read in October. It's a lot of books, so I'm kind of gonna go through them fast. I'll probably just give you like what I rated it and maybe a little bit about it. So yeah, the first book I read is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. I listened to the audiobook and also followed along physically. I read this for Katie Colson's Patreon book club pick, and this was such a good read. Like, there was like it was such great like world building and like character like development. And yeah, it was such a like good like, and like however like all the like these like stories like the ending like connects together. Like, it was such a like a great read. The beginning I was a little like slow going for me. Like, there was like I was having a hard time like understanding what was happening a little bit there. So that is why I did end up only giving it a 4-star, but I still definitely had a lot of fun with this book. And I am definitely gonna probably continue with the series soon. But yeah, this was a great first read for October. And then the second book I read was Such Sharp Teeth by Rachel Harrison. This is a werewolf book. This is about she gets hit or she hits a werewolf and then ends up getting bitten. And yeah, that's all I can really say without giving spoilers, but it was such a fun read. I think I ended up giving it 4 stars. The third book I read in October was The Way to Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson. This was a like kind of a retelling or reimagining of Carrie by Stephen King. And this was such a good book. I had so much fun reading it, and it's a YA horror book. And yeah, I just had so much fun reading it, and I highly recommend it if you haven't read it yet. It's a very I ended up giving it 5 stars, and I highly recommend it. The fourth book I read was The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew. This is another YA kind of like I think I would call it like magical realism book. It was really weird. It follows a character. She goes to a academy, and then there's ways that they can move through world, and then it follows a relationship where she first she fell in love or she met him as a ghost first, and then he came back to life when she touched her. So I don't, it was a very weird story, but there is a character, the main character does have a hearing impairment, and I thought it was done really well. I can't really say if it was, but I thought it was done well, and I it has that rep in there, so I thought that was a good and yeah, I didn't really like this one as much as I wanted to. I was reading it very slow, and it read the characters were read very young, I feel like. I think I ended up giving it a 3 stars. It wasn't horrible. I feel like it wasn't the book for me. But yeah, it was a good story, kind of a mystery story, but yeah, it just some things kind of fell flat for me, so yeah. Then the next book I read was The Last House on Needless Street by Catriona Ward. This was a very weird story. I don't really want to say too much about it. I would definitely go into this blind. But yeah, I was definitely was not expecting how this was ending. It's very dark. I feel but yeah, it was really a really good book. I think I ended up giving it a 4 star. So yeah, it was a really good book. But yeah, I just felt myself like reading it very slow because I was like getting uninterested in it at times. But it was still a good read. Okay, and then I'm just gonna go through these next 4 fairly quickly because I do have a reading vlog involving them. And that's like the witchy romance books that I read. I have Go Hex Yourself by Jessica Clare. I ended up giving this, I think, a 4-star. If you want more thoughts on it, definitely check out the vlog. Same with What You Gonna Do. I gave this one 3 stars. Payback's a Witch, I ended up giving 4 stars. And then this one, I only had it like the very end of like the vlog, but I ended up not finishing it within like the time frame of wanting to do that vlog. So it wasn't really like in like the part of like the vlog that I did. But that's not The Witch You Wed. And I love this book. This was my favorite out of the 4 witchy romance books I read in October. And I'm sad that it wasn't a part of that vlog because this was so fun. Like, I loved every minute of it. It was just such a fun read, and I loved the main male character, like yeah, I had so much fun with this and ended up giving this one 5 stars. And then we have a disappointing read, and that is The Haunting of Blackwood House by Darcy Coates. I read Voices in the Snow, and what was the other one I read? I can't think of another one, but I will look it up and I will pop up a picture of it here. But I read 2 books by Darcy Coates and loved both of them, especially Voices in the Snow. That one was a 5-star read for me. So yeah, I was very disappointed. I ended up only giving this one 2 stars. I just hated the main character in this, like the main female character. I like was getting so frustrated and annoyed at this main character, and I like almost wanted to DNF it, but I just wanted to know what happened, what was like happening in this house, and like all the like the reveals that were gonna happen. But yeah, I liked it. Follows Mara and Neil. They purchase this house, or Mara purchases this house, and things start happening in it, and then yeah, they're like, I don't know if they're engaged. I think it says they're engaged on the back, but I'm pretty sure they're just like they're in a relationship. I don't think they're engaged. But yeah, it says it is with her fiance, but there is no mention of that in the book at all. So yeah, it was not great. I just did not like the main character, and I felt like parts of it were like dragging on. So yeah, I ended up giving it 2 stars. And then I read The Chestnut Man, which was another disappointing read. It wasn't as bad as that one. But this is by Soren Feist. It follows basically this chestnut man. It's like he's like a serial killer, and his like he like leaves like these like chestnut like guys like at like the scene of the crime. And it's like an investigation like story, and like I just felt like it was very long and it dragged on. I also had to like go to like the audiobook to it because I just could not get through it physically. So I kind of was just like, I did like, I think like 2.6 like speed just to like get through it, and then like the reveal happened on who the Chestnut Man was, and I just like after that I was like, okay, are we done with this story? But I ended up giving it 3 stars because it was kind of interesting. But yeah, I just felt like it was too long, and yeah, it wasn't like a fun read for me. But then the last book I read in October was Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. And this one I had so much fun with. It follows like this character that moves into this like apartment building, and she basically gets paid to like live there basically. But then things start happening and she like feels like things are like very off in this building, and it was such a fun time. I think I ended up giving it 4 stars because I did not like it as much as the other book I read by him. What was it? Here, I can look at The Last Time I Lied. That one I think is still my favorite of the 3 I read. I read Final Girls, The Last Time I Lied, and then now this one, and I still think Last Time I Lied is my favorite, then it's this, and then Final Girls I didn't really like that much. But yeah, this was a really great read. I loved like some of the characters, and yeah, it was such a fun read and good end to October. That was all the books I have read from the past 4 months. This was such a long video. We made it to the end. If you have made it this far, thank you so much. Please let me know what if you have read these and what your thoughts are on them. And yeah, again, thank you so much for watching this video, and please like and subscribe if you want to, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.